A special thank you to Natasha and the team at West Coast for linking for letting me review the Toyota Sienna in today's video. In 1997, the Toyota Sienna was first introduced in the North American market, and it replaced its processor, which was the Toyota Previa. This particular generation shared the same platform as the 1997 Toyota Camry. In 2001, the Toyota Sienna received an exterior and interior update, which looked pretty good. In 2004, the second generation Toyota Sienna debuted in the North American market and was much more larger and bigger in size compared to the processor. And in 2008, it saw a refreshed exterior as well. And in 2011, we saw a bigger and larger third generation Toyota Sienna that offered all-wheel drive. In 2018, the Toyota Sienna of its third generation received an exterior update, which looked pretty good. Present day, and here is the 2021 Toyota Sienna Hybrid that was only available in hybrid and saw some supply low inventory issues. The Toyota Sienna competes with three competitors in the market, just like this Honda Odyssey, Kia Carnival, and Chrysler Pacifica. If you go for a Sienna in 2026, they still do have inventory issues. And as you can see, you have to check with your local dealer. If you go for the LE, it'll take up to 4 to 6 months. If you go for the limited and higher trims, it'll take up to 12 months or longer. Now, if you go for the LE, you do get some great tech such as Toyota Safety Sense, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and a heated steering wheel. I chose the LE all-wheel drive 8-passenger because I feel like everyone will go for the all-wheel drive model. Now, as you can see, it's a pretty good looking minivan for an LE. There are 6 available trims to choose from, such as LE front wheel drive 8-passenger, LE all-wheel drive 8-passenger, XLE front wheel drive 8-passenger, XSE front wheel drive 7-passenger, XSE all-wheel drive 7-passenger, and lastly limited all-wheel drive 7-passenger. There are 7 available colors for the Toyota Sienna Hybrid, such as white, heavy metal, midnight black metallic, windshield pearl, blueprint, ruby flare pearl. Lastly, we have cement. Cement and ruby red flare pearl stood out to me the most. Here is gray fabric, gray soft text, gray black soft text, black soft text, macadamia leather, black leather. In 2024, I got to review the Toyota Sienna XSE technology package, all-wheel drive, and this vehicle reminds me of the third generation Toyota Sienna SE, just like this vehicle right here. The rear end reminds me of the A90 Toyota Supra with its rear and taillight design. The XLE trim gives you a chrome front end with the trimming on the front, and here are your LED headlights. That IIHS rates good. The headlight and high beams are automatic. Down below you do have your big lower grille with chrome trimming, and up close you do have your Toyota hybrid badging that every Toyota hybrid vehicle has to let you know that it is a hybrid. And here is your LED turn signal indicator. Here is your LED turn signal indicator up close. And I really like the front end, reminds me of the Lexus RX powering the 2024 Toyota Sienna Hybrid. Is a 2.5 liter Atkinson cycle liter 4 mated to the ECVT transmission. Fuel is regular. And here is your engine oil information. Since we have the XLE front wheel drive, we do get the 17-inch rims. If you go for the XLE all wheel drive, you get the 18-inch rims. Let's start up the Toyota Sienna. Now on startup, it'll be quiet. Here is your Sienna animation on the gauge cluster. And here is your mounted audio, phone, and voice recognition on the steering wheel, and your volume as well. And here is your driving aids for the cruise control, and when you press mode, it's going to show you your radio and other various settings such as Bluetooth, Sirius XM, and much more. Steering felt light and responsive, which I really like. Just like the Sienna XSE. Here is Toyota's 9.0-inch infotainment system with your home, menu, audio, map, power, and volume. This reads your battery and engine, how much you used during your drive. And here is your Bluetooth audio and your sleek track phone apps tune scroll. This is your energy monitor for your battery and engine. So energy monitor tracks your engine, electric motor, and battery usage. When you click trip information, it shows your range, elapsed time, and average speed. And here's your history of your latest trip, such as your range, elapsed time, and average speed. And it shows you more of your range. The 2024 Toyota Sienna XLE does not come with the wide-angle backup camera. You get in the 2024 Toyota Sienna XSE with the tech package. So here is the wide-angle backup camera. As you can see, it is a wide-angle backup camera. Here is your HVAC controls with your auto off heat and defrost and AC, and your gear selector with your electronic parking brake, and your 2 cup holders, and your drive mode and EV mode and brake hold, and you get wood grain trim and 2 cup holders. The Toyota Sienna XSE gets this more like sportier grayish wood grain trim, which I really like. And here's the center console in the Toyota Sienna XLE, and 2 USB ports, and the center console is really deep. And here are the cup holders that I mentioned earlier. And here are more storage. And here is the glove compartment. And here is the passenger seat. Down below the center console, you do have more storage where you can store a bag, like I just did here for demonstration purposes, or a diaper bag. Love how the Sienna has plenty of storage for your belongings. Now you do have your drive modes right here. Here is your Eco and Sport mode. Here is your armrest. Here are the controls for the rear sliding door, for your sunroof and hatch. Here we have a little mirror to view the rear passengers. And here is the sunroof controls. The sunroof can also tilt as well. Here are the controls for the rear hatch. You can also close the rear hatch with the button as well. Here are the 2 rear sliding door buttons to open and close the rear sliding door. Moving on to the second row of the Toyota Sienna Hybrid, this is the 8-seater configuration. You can also get the 7-seater configuration. I really like this feature aside from kicking your foot under the door for the rear sliding door to open. I think this is very neat if your hand is full. The rear seat can pull forward and backward really far. And that is pretty good if you're going to be hauling a lot of stuff. The second row is pretty easy to get into. Older people can use the handle where the rear sliding door is to get in. I have plenty of legroom behind my driving position, and you can close the rear sliding door by that button on the side. Or you can use the handle right here. And the Sienna has a rear second row sunshade, which is a must if you have kids. And here is the speaker and power window button control and cup holder and the handle. And here is the back seat pocket and two cup holders below. If you go for the Sienna XSE, you get a style plug-in outlet and an HDMI connector and your cup holders down below. You have a USB A and C type charging port. This is the rear entertainment system you get in the higher trim model of Sienna. However, the XSE gives you this in the technology package. Rather than the infotainment system, you do get yourself the HVAC control. Overall, a nice interior for being the XLE. You can fold down the rear second row middle seat and remove it and store it in the trunk. Moving on to the third row of the Toyota Sienna Hybrid. As you can see, the passageway to get into the third row is very spacious. It will be no problem for a parent to haul in their child's booster in the third row. Now, entering the third row is really easy to get into. So much legroom with that second row push forward. And behind this second row seat, I have plenty of legroom. And you have your charging port, cup holders. There are no third row sunshades. The third row is really roomy. Now you can even just sit back there and have the second row seat push forward like that. Moving on to the rear end of the Toyota Sienna Hybrid. Now I do love the rear end. It is not polarizing. Down below, you have your XLE hybrid badging. And up top, you have your Sienna and Toyota Hybrid emblem. Love the hybrid badging on the Sienna Hybrid. I love the blue around the emblem and overall. And down below, you have your hidden exhaust tailpipe. I love the rear end design of the Toyota Sienna Hybrid, and I may have said that a few times already. Here are the tail lights on. Here are the turn signal indicators, and you can actually get them more brighter, but I think the OEM ones are pretty good. Let's check out what the Toyota Sienna has for cargo and versatility. And as you can see right away with the third row up, you have plenty of cargo capacity. The second row middle seat can be stored right there. With the third row up, as mentioned, you have plenty of cargo room. The third row is easy to fold into the cargo by pulling on that lever and pulling forward and downwards. Same process goes for the other side as well. Very easy to do with one hand only. As you can see, there is plenty of cargo and versatility. To put up the third row, you pull on that lever and pull forward and pull on the strap backward. Same goes for that side as well. Very easy to do with one hand. As mentioned before, with the third row up, it is very spacious. Here is where the battery is located. Here is where the battery is located, as mentioned, and will be easy to service. If your hand is full, you can simply kick your foot under the bumper and the trunk will close automatically for you. Overall, it is a great minivan for the price you pay. Comment down below on what minivan you'd love to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.